In this episode of Architectural Adventures, we take a look at the history of Denver's tallest buildings, as well as look at what could be on the horizon.
Right behind me is the Equitable building. It's a building that started all Denver's first tallest building, built in 1892. It rises a whole 125 feet. Doesn't seem like a lot today, but back then set the mark of tallest. There's actually an artesian well that actually still powers the elevators to the day.
The Equitable building was designed in the Italian Renaissance Revival architectural style. It was also Denver's first high-rise, designed by architect Andrews, Qwest, and Rental. It was added to the National Register of Historic Places on January 1st, 1978.
Alright, so right there is the Daniel Fisher's clock tower. It actually used to extend out to be the whole Daniel Fisher's, building. When the building itself was demolished, they actually saved the clock tower. It was built in 1911 and was Denver's tallest building from 1911 to 1957. It rises 325 feet to the top of that gold little rotunda up there, and 375 feet to the top of the flagpole.
The architect behind the Daniel Fisher Tower was F.G. Sterner. This was added to the National Register of Historic Places on December 3rd, 1969. This was designed in the late 19th and 20th century revivals as well as the Italian Renaissance, as it was modeled after the Campanile, aka St. Mark's Bell Tower, at the Piazza San Marco in Venice, Italy.
Right behind me is the old First National building. It was built in 1957. It rises 384 feet to the roof. The antenna, it is 417 feet. The antenna is actually just a flagpole. Something cool about this, which I'll splice in now,
is that it actually used to house a observation deck, as seen here, sky deck of the first. Now this is a pamphlet, an actual pamphlet from that observation deck. And so we're just going to take a quick look over it. If you guys want to read what it's saying, make sure to hit that pause button you can. And just give you a little bit more up close look at the pamphlet, but the really, really cool part. So once we get inside here and look at that, it kind of shows you what it would have looked like from the top of this tower.
Alright, so right behind us is 1600 Glenarm. It was actually never the tallest, but at one point, when it was built in 1967, it was tied for tallest building, as it reached 384 feet, as well as the First National. Something kind of cool about it, now that it is apartments though, if you look where that 1600 is, that actually used to be a glass elevator. And that was because there was a restaurant at the very top of it, and that was their express elevator up to the restaurant. So we're right in front of the Brooks Tower right now. So this was Denver's tallest building from 1968 to 1974, with 42 floors and 420 feet to the roof. It was actually built on the former site of the Mining and Exchange building, which would explain this prospector here, which actually stood at the top of the old Mining and Exchange building. I'm leaning against 633rd 17th Street. This was built in 1974 at a height 433 feet. Originally, it was First Interstate North Tower and actually helped First Interstate regain the title of Denver's tallest building. Right behind me, it's kind of hard to see because of how dark it is right now, but it's 555 17th Street, which is the old Anaconda Tower, the old Qwest Tower. It was built in 1978 and rises 509 feet to the roof. Behind me is MCI Plaza, built in 1981 at a height of 522 feet. Something interesting about it is hotel and office, and there's actually a pretty easy distinguish between the two, as at the 21st floor it bows out and everything above 21 and up is office. Behind me is my favorite building in Denver. It's 1801 California Street. Locals will know it's the Qwest Tower. It rises 709 feet to the roof, but actually it's still Denver's tallest building to its antenna of 738 feet.
The architecture firm behind this one was Metz, Train and Youngren. At one point, the Qwest signs at the very top of the building, when it was still the Qwest Tower, actually held the distinction as the brightest high-rise signs in the world, as the lights could be seen over 70 miles away.
Our conclusion, as of 1984, the Republic Plaza has been Denver's tallest building. It rises 56 floors, something that both Sam and I are very, we'll just say we've met every floor of that tower.
Well, basically just the stairwell of each floor. You didn't actually go to each floor.
Yeah, so something cool that this one does is they do the American Lung Association Colorado Fight for Air Climb to raise money for both like lung cancer or lung diseases such as asthma. And it's something both Sam and I and Mark took part of. If you want to see that, click the link above. But yeah, this is Denver's tallest building. It rises 714 feet. It was actually, it's big for Colorado, I'll say. But in all reality, it's only 56 floors of the originally proposed 80 floors. Originally, it was supposed to be 80 floors tall, but the FAA actually told them to reduce the height because of how close Stapleton Airport was at the time.
The architecture firm behind this one was Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, which I'm sure you've heard if you watched our Republic Plaza episode.
out in a parking lot. As usual, these non-built skyscrapers are parking lots today. This was going to be the location of the 1985 Reliance Center. Would have risen 723 feet, making it Denver's tallest building by roof height, though 1801 California would have still been taller. Also at 1600 Glenarm was going to be the Trango Tower, a 1,050 foot tall skyscraper, which actually probably would have made it the tallest building outside of Chicago and New York at the time of completion in 2004. It is probably one of the bigger ones I'm sad we didn't get, just because of the height, the location. Obviously it's pretty prominent as far as how you would have seen it. So yeah, it's too bad. What can you do? Behind me is the Four Seasons Hotel and private residence. As you can see, it's decently tall, especially for Denver, at a height of 640 feet. Though when it was originally proposed in 2004, it actually rose to a height of 801 feet, which would have made it Denver's tallest building. Right behind me is the Wells Fargo Center, which most people know as the cash register building. It never held any of Denver's tallest records at all. People think it does look taller just because it sits on a hill. So elevation-wise, it's a little bit higher, but it's actually third tallest. Never held the record. But across the street is why we're here. Right next to the El Jebel Shrine was going to be originally the El Jebel Tower. It wouldn't have held any of the tallest records, but that was a 2000 proposal. Later, closer to 2004, a new proposal popped up under the name of the Trump Tower Denver. And it looks suspiciously like the El Jebel Tower, but this one had two spires at the top, which those two spires would have made it 1 whole foot taller than the Republic Plaza at 715 feet. So right here it could have been the spot of Trump Tower Denver, which would have been Denver's tallest. Cheating, I guess, because it's not the tallest point. 1801 California has the record, and not tallest roof, but... Alright, something great about this journey through Denver's tallest is they're all kind of grouped together. Also, you got the two First Nationals here, Qwest is right there, MCI. Right here's another parking lot, which means we're at another of Denver's never-built skyscrapers. Unfortunately, this is the most recent. As of 2019, this project was still alive. So this is 650 17th Street. There was two incarnations. The earlier was an 800 and 900 foot tower. Alright, but the later incarnation of 650 17th Street actually rose 90 stories, was 1,000 feet tall, featured an outdoor pool and everything, which would have been really cool. It's definitely a shame. It has switched ownership, so they could still, I guess, make a building up to 1,000 feet, but we'll see.
This part of the episode brings us to concepts that were never actually official proposals, but in some cases they made the news still. So I will mention them even though, they are not official or never were official, proposals. They were just, concept renderings. First up is 17th and California. Again, this is located at the same site as 650 17th that you just witnessed as the final proposal that was canned. This one rises 60 floors and is more or less feels like just, a concept to show what could be built if someone had an interest in building on the site. Next up is the Amazon Tower, and this one did make the news, like I had said, even though it was not an official proposal. It was just a concept to show what the amount of floor space could look like. I don't actually even think the buildings Amazon ended up going with were even near this high. This would have been America's tallest building at the time at roof height, and we're going to splice in a little bit of where they would have been located. There's just this little abandoned parking lot right here. Nothing too special to see there. Like I said, not an official proposal.
Alright, so with no actual definitive proposals on the horizon, it looks like Republic Plaza could hold the record for a while. But just behind us is where Elitch's stands today, behind these buildings. And that's going away. Eventually they're going to put the Riverwalk down there, and that's supposed to produce at least a couple 50-story buildings. So if you're looking for a most likely spot that the next tallest could come from, it's right behind us.
So for now, it looks like Republic Plaza will hold the title of Denver's tallest building for the foreseeable future. But who knows, maybe at some point we'll have to update this video and say there was a 10th tallest building in Denver's history of tallest buildings. And who knows, maybe that building might just be our own, Culz Tower, Denver. But until next time, if you liked this episode and want to see more architectural adventures, please click that link to your left. If you want to see more of what we're about here at Culz Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe.